Welcome back, everyone. So we are going into our acrylic painting this week. So I'm going to start. We're going to use a restricted palette. So I've just got the turquoise, the phthalo blue, which is dark blue, white and black. And we're going to do an underwater scene learning how to use a restricted palette. As I'm pretty sure these are the colours you had left over from your last course, but also they're really easy to find. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a layer of white. So our light is going to be coming from this corner. Excuse me, my water had a little bit of brush, had a little bit of green in it, which is fine. So I'm just putting a layer of white from this corner. Now I'm going to mix a light turquoise, so white and turquoise together. And I'm just going to blend that through this section. So you want to blend while your paint is wet. If it's not wet, always add more water and more paint. Especially with acrylics, they dry very quickly, and in broom even more so. So then we are going to add a bit more turquoise to our white mix. So it's going to become slightly darker. Now I'm going to add some of that the blue into this mix with the bit of turquoise as well. It's going to change the tone of that section. And more blue. More dark blue into that mix. And then blending really well. So I'm getting rid of all the white gaps that you can see the canvas poking through, giving the brush a really good wash. And then with a bit of water, I'm just going to make sure this part's all nice and soft. Beautiful. Now I want to add some light. So I'm going to get my white on the brush. Still using the flat brush. I'm going to come from this top corner and I'm going to add in some lines of light coming down into that wet paint, and washing and wiping your brush really well. So there's just water on there. I'm going to blend that in. So adding a bit more white. blending. And softening the ends of that. So soften this a little bit through here. So I've just got water on my brush. Beautiful. So really, really white in the corner. So I'm just going to add a little bit more right in that top corner. Not coming down too far with these strokes. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to put in a lighter bank here and a darker bank there. So we're going to come in with a bit more of the dark blue into our mix. I'm going to come from this side like this. Adding a tiny bit of black into some of that blue to the side. So adding a tiny bit of black. I'm just going to deepen that there a little bit. And this side will be a bit lighter. So same colour, adding a bit of white. And come from this side. Filling that in. It's where the light's going to hit the bottom of the sand. We're going to have coral silhouettes in front of this anyway. So. Beautiful. So now we're going to start popping in some of the rock and coral formations. Just want to blend all this really well first. Make sure there's no gaps peeking through of canvas. All right, so rock formations. You're going to come in with your black. I'm still using my big flat brush, but you can change up to a smaller one if you prefer. You could also let this dry and use a white soft pastel to draw where you want your rocks if you prefer to do that too. It should only take a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to map in silhouette of some rock formations here. And just start to paint those in. So there's absolutely no right or wrong with these. Like so. So this bank here of sand, we want to highlight a little bit more. So while we let that dry, I'm going to add a little bit of white to my blue mix, and I'm just going to highlight along the top here. Blending that in. Like so. Beautiful. Now, I want to add some more detail through my light in the corner. So I'm going to switch to a round brush. I'm going to go white. And I'm just going to draw in some squiggly reflective light. Softening with a bit of water. This is very different from our usual stuff, but it's a good little challenge. I think underwater scenes scare a lot of people, but it's not too difficult. So just little squiggles, quite effective. Now, what I want to do is add some more. Well, I've got that little brush, because I'm going to add some thinner bits of coral or seaweed. So I'm going to get a good amount of black on my brush and start some skinny patterns like this, coming up from my rocks. Just adding a little bit of extra detail in some of my rocks as well. Sharpening some edges. Seaweed. A little bit of coral here. Awesome. It's just giving it a bit more depth. I'm just thickening up the black where my paint was a little bit wet underneath with the blue, so it's a bit thin. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to use my dark blue first to map out my manta ray. So you could always do any kind of animal silhouette you like, really, ocean animal. So my main one is going to be here. So I'm going to map him in with paint. You can use a pencil, some chalk, whatever you wish, if you prefer to go in first with a guideline. Just popping the outline in. Fill that in with the blue first. tail. Now I'm going to add a bit of black to my blue and just deepen up that shape. And I'm kind of keeping the very edges of it still quite blue because where the light's hitting the little guy. Now I want to add one swimming in the opposite direction, coming back in this way. So same brush. So I'm just going to use the dark blue with a little bit of white mixed in, because that section's quite light as well. And it's quite aqua, so this will stand out. So starting with the little face. Spreading that with a bit of water. Tidying up the edge here. Tail. Now I'm going to highlight that a little bit because he's in such a light section. So I'm grabbing some white. Where the light would be hitting the body and the fin. This is just white over my wet blue. Beautiful. Just going to deepen the shadow on the bottom here again. So I'm using a bit of black. Bit of blue. Alright, so now to finish, we want to add some highlights and some dimension to our coral. So I'm going to use a light blue with using the Pythalo blue, so the dark blue, not the turquoise. making up a light blue. I'm going to come with my small round brush. I'm just going to highlight the edge of this rock. Blending as I go. And you can see that's giving it a bit of dimension and shape. This one as well. It's softer. Not as sharp edges. Blending with a bit of water. And then you're done. Once you're happy with that, so sign anywhere you wish. And you're finished.